All right, here we go. For the Arends Translation Attrition ATA, articles from German newspapers translated by William Arends, Part 2. Translator's note. These reports from the 21st of August 1917 issue of Berlin's latest news are interesting when compared to the articles that I've sent you earlier this week. Misappropriation of ration cards is viewed as a serious offense against the state, but the entire war effort now seems to hang on the destruction of the merchant shipping of England and the other members of the Entente. Misdemeanors and felonies against the state regulations will be punished to the fullest extent of the law, but state violence on the high seas will be seen as heroic and necessary for the success of the Reich. In the second part of the article, concerning the amount of tonnage sunk by the German U-boats in the unrestricted submarine warfare, it is almost comical to read how completely different calculations producing different numbers led to exactly the same positive results. I will say this as well. When I was reading it at first, the numbers start becoming so just overwhelming. I was just wondering if that was part of the reason why they were doing it. I was just getting so confused. Anyways, here we continue. In the accounts of the 11th Battle of the Isonzo, it is interesting to see how even as the Austro-Hungarian forces are preventing the Italians from advancing deep into their territories, the very name changes of towns and terrain features from World War I to today prove that all the hopes of the Central Powers to hold on to their borders, if not extend them, were but a hope that was held in vain, and that it would have been better to come to some kind of peace agreement at an earlier part of the Great War than to have fought the war to the point of exhaustion. Berlin's latest news, Tuesday, August 21st, 1917, morning edition. 811,000 tons sunk in July. The U-boat looting and destruction of shipping in recent months. WTB, Berlin, 20th of August, official. In the month of July, the naval warfare of the Central Powers have sunken 811,000 gross registered tons, or GRT, of commercial shipping. A supplementary reckoning of an additional 13,000 GRT in the first half of this year raises the amount of shipping lost through U-boat activity during this time period to a total of 5,495,000 gross registered tons. This is the effective number of losses used by our enemies to gauge the destruction of their commercial shipping, the naval chief of the staff of the Admiralty. The results of the ship sinkings in the month of July surpasses again all of our expectations. When someone considers that in February 1917, the English stated that they had 8,500,000 tons of available commercial shipping, and that in the first 6 months of this year, 850,000 tons have been seen as being sunk up to now. So now we can make the following observations about the sinking of commercial shipping in the first half of this year. 8,500,000 tons per month have been sunk during this time. 850,000 tons in February, or 10% of the total. Out of the 7,650,000 tons available, 850,000 tons in March, or 11%. Out of 6,800,000 tons available, 850,000 tons sunk in April, which equals 12.5%. Out of 5,950,000 of available shipping, 850,000 tons in May, or around 14% sunk. Out of 5,100,000 tons commercial shipping available, 850,000 tons sunk in the 6 months, or 20%. From these amounts, it can be proved that from early in this year, starting in February 1917, the tonnage available to the English has been at the very least cut in half, if one reckons that an average of 850,000 tons per month have been sunk. However, we cannot arrive at that number we can put together on these assumptions alone. It can, on the other hand, be demonstrated through indexes or tables that the number of ship tonnage sunk of 850,000 per month remains the same through the operational activity of our U-boats by the actual disposition within the number of freighters available to hunt going forward. Here, in 6 months, the disposition of the standing number of freighters is perceived through the number of ships that have already been sunk, where the percentage of available tonnage increases by month from 10% to 20% of the total number of ships remaining afloat, while at the same time, the total number of freighters available to the English commercial fleet has been reduced by 50%. This result also relies on it being clothed in yet another formula. If we would be content with this given result, that in every month, only 10% of the shipping tonnage still available to the enemy has been sunk, and if we already in the first month have sunk 850,000 tons, then in the fourth month, only 595,000 should have been sunk, and in the fifth month, only 545,000, and in the sixth month, 490,950 should have been sunk. We can also derive from these numbers are also an overperformance that the continuous sinking of 850,000 tons per month signifies. Wow. A favorable course of action in the battle around Verdun and the fight on the Isonzo. WTB Berlin, August 20th, evening official. The battle around Verdun has taken a favorable turn for us. On the west bank of the Meuse, the enemy presses on only in the Avocat forest and on Dead Man's Hill in our defensive zones. Otherwise, their repeated assaults were repulsed everywhere. East of the Meuse, the enemy in place before our battle positions was either thoroughly repulsed or has been thrown back by counterattacks. Reckless mass sorties of their infantry along a front with a width of more than 20 kilometers against our brave battle-hardened defenders cost the French troops heavy losses. Besides this, in both the west and the east, there were no big combat actions. The first day of the new fight on the Isonzo is a success for the Austrians. Vienna, August 20th, official announcement. Eastern Theater of War. Near Mazaret Este, the German troops captured 2,200 prisoners in active combat. Near Goresti and Utoz, Romania, and west from Okna, Romania, the Russians and the Romanians were thrown back again by the Austro-Hungarian and German troops. Further north, there were no particular events. The Italian theater of war. Our brave army on the Isonzo took their stand yesterday, again in fierce combat against an enemy force far superior in numbers. This day, the victory was ours. During the battle, the enemy was between the region of Tolomin in present-day Slovenia and the Carnic Alps in Italy, and had to contend themselves with isolated partial assaults and had to surge backwards from Azua Valley up to the coast of the Adriatic Sea after they had sent assault waves of Italian mass attacks against our positions. Above the canal, the Italian artillery operation supported the Italian forces up to the hills of Brunch. There the enemy was thrown back by the heroes from Egerland, who pushed them back on that slope. Near Desica and Bodici on the Santo, now Civita Gora, and Gabriele, now Sabrigel mountains, also in Slovenia, and on the hill country east and west of Goritz, now Gorizia, Italy, there were large, fierce fights, without the Italians gaining even a foot-wide piece of that ground. The honorable Home Guards from Vienna and the Austrian Home Guard, regiments number 51, found here renewed profitable opportunities on account of their frequently proven warrior spirit. Between Wipach, Vitpava, and Petihirib, both located in what is now Slovenia, the enemy attack columns were wrecked by an iron resistance of well-trained sharpshooter regiments from the Alps. These Craner mountain sharpshooters were defending their home ground. The battle also raged along the Carnic High Plateau with great violent activity. The battle swayed back and forth in the southwest of Kostanajica, today Kostanajica, near Na Krazu, Slovenia. Good Lord. Well, these things drive me nuts. To the disputed land of the frontline positions. Otherwise, everywhere else, the enemy has been completely thrown back from our most advanced forward line. Practice, practice, practice. On August 19th, our troops brought in over 3,000 prisoners. The bloody losses of the Italians was very great. Enemy naval gunships shot at the open city of Trieste. This caused many of the inhabitants of this city to be killed. On the high plateau of the Seven Towns, where the Italians in June undertook a hard but unsuccessful attack, the enemy moved the day before yesterday, north of Asiago, to a 15-kilometer wide front in its existing positions on Italian soil. Yesterday, they were forced back out of the Valle of Sugana. I'm just going to say this. Remember this? We've been seeing this in the English language newspapers about the enemy naval gunships, which we found out were British monitors helping out the Italians. This is just really neat to see the other side of it. I love this. Anyways, Balkan Theater of War, unchanged. The Chief of the General Staff. WTB, Vienna, 20th of August. It was reported from the press war corridor on this evening of August 20th. The 11th Battle of the Isonzo continues in undiminished violent actions. This battle is taking place specifically near Tobrunch and southwest of Kostanjevica. The course of this battle is going well for us. It's from what I know, but it does, from what we're also seeing from the English papers and what we does find out, I think what we're going to find out from Caporetto, the one coming up in October, the 12th Battle of the Isonzo, is that, yes, the Austrians are getting worried here, and the Germans are going to come in with a big push to help out the Austro-Hungarians. It's going to be fascinating to find out. Anyways, thank you so much, and we're going to be going off to part 3 in a little bit.